part 2 of chapter 2. So we were just talking about identity scripts. These are the scripts that we use for living the different faces. Within that, we have what's called attachments, and there's different attachment theories. I want to bring your attention to, on page 45, the figure 2-2, which is the views of self. So as you can see, at the very top, we have positive, and then we have negative. And on the side, we have at the bottom negative, and at the top positive. So when we have, and then we have view of self, and then view of others. And as you can see, we have secure means your view of others is positive and your view of self is positive. And then on the negative, we have anxious and that an obliviant, and that is view of others and then view of self, which would be like that negative positive. And then the negative positive down below is dismissive, and then negative is fearful. So when we think about that, and we think about the different scripts we play, and the different faces that we have for different groups, we can think about this view of self and the view of others. How does that play a role into ourself and building up our self-concept? Have you ever met someone that was so negative, and every time they were negative, you thought, I don't want to be around them? But did you ever stop and think that maybe they were hurt from X, Y, or Z? Maybe they were upset by something? So you think about that. And then I really like this diagram and this graph because it kind of brings that into play. I've known people like that. And my first, my first script is saying, oh my gosh, I don't want to be around them. But then I think that they're not as secure. And maybe there's other other parts in their life. And it's the same thing with all of us. So I really, really like that. We as adults can shape the children around us, just like we were talking about the boy called It, and he got locked in that closet. Those adults shaped his life, and then he went to a more caring and nurturing, and they shaped his life. So that really makes us think about when we were growing up, what shaped us? What made us think about ourselves? Who shaped us? Who told us that we were great and good versus who didn't? And that goes back into that identity scripts and those attachments. Thinking about how we grew up, if we grew up into a positive influence, or did we grow up in a negative influence? I grew up with my parents who were very supportive of everything I did and my dream of going into theater. And so I had that positive, which in turn made myself more positive and secure. But I've met other people, that's my cat Jezebel, I've met other people who may not have had that support. And so they've been kind of grown up into a more negative, which I think is always interesting to look at somebody and to think about their identity script, which is kind of